With spring break coming up, let's talk about tips for traveling with kids.
Hey mamas, welcome back to our channel. Let's dive into some of these tips. These first few tips apply to whether you're traveling by car or plane.
So first and foremost, we know that kids get crabby when they're hungry. So it's beyond crucial to pack some good snacks and water. Nobody wants to pay $4 in the airport for that water.
Some of our favorite snacks to pack are granola bars, small boxes of raisins, pretzel sticks because those are easy to pass back in the car and they're less messy. And sometimes we even pack like candies or special treats just because when they're getting crabby, we could just throw it back there and it's like special because we're on a trip, and that usually keeps them entertained a little bit longer too.
So usually we go to the store before a trip and I just let the kids pick a few snacks that they each want. It depends on the size of the item too, but usually they'll pick 1 to 2 snacks. Sometimes it's like a group snack that we all share, and sometimes it's like an individual packed one.
If you're trying to be more healthy, we usually bring like a little lunch box or cooler thing in the car, and you can slice up bell peppers or apples, and those usually stay good overnight in the cooler. You can also do carrot sticks or clementines, keep really well too.
I also like to pack sandwiches, whether we're on an airplane or in the car, and that's because if it does end up being a mealtime, and sometimes it happens where we end up, let's say, leaving at 5 from the airport or sometimes from home, then we end up with dinner on the road, and I don't want to pull over after an hour or two, or even in the plane. I don't want to deal with hungry kids who cannot have their bellies full just from snacks. So I love packing sandwiches or just some kind of quick, like legit meal to hold them off.
Our next tip is to bring entertainment for your kids. The easiest one is obviously to bring some sort of screen for them, so an iPad, or they could use your phone and you just download a few apps beforehand. But we also like to pack non-electronics for the kids, and so some of our favorites are these Melissa and Doug books, and there's a couple different kinds. There's one that I use a lot with my kids, it's called Water Well, where they give you like a little wet paintbrush, and then as soon as you draw on the page, the colors will show up, and it's non-messy and it's really cute. These are newer, we actually haven't used them yet, but we bought them for an upcoming trip. It's called Melissa and Doug Felt Friend stickers, and it's super cute. It comes with the whole kit here to make these friends, and it tells you how to do it, and then at the end they can color scenes and use their friends to like act out whatever on the page, and it's just super cute. I think my kids are gonna love this.
And this is for ages 4 and up, just to give you a better idea of if you're gonna need to help your kids with this or if they can do it on their own. There is also the Origami animals, super cute. They basically come with different pieces of paper that they can fold up, and then that creature is created. Let me show you the front too. But those are the different origami animals that they can create. So what's nice about this is, first, it's for older kids, and I feel like it's harder these days to find things for older kids to entertain them because it's so easy to just give them technology, and with their attention span being so much better than when they were younger, it's easy to say, watch this, and we're good to go.
Something I also really like to do is to check out the dollar store right before we leave. They have like buckets of slime or Play-Doh or activity books or coloring books, and they're all $1. So you can just pick up like 5 things for them, and they have 5 new toys or 5 new things to do right before you leave. And so anything new is gonna keep their attention for a while. That always works out really well for my kids.
Yes, and the Dollar Tree unfortunately is not as entertaining as it used to be, y'all. As they get older, it is not as exciting. We just went at Christmas time, and our oldest was like, like it wasn't that many cool things. Like maybe she found 1 thing, and then our 8-year-old found 3-ish things. Of course, our 5-year-old was still entertained by everything.
Yeah, my kids are 3 and 4, so it's like the perfect sweet spot still for the Dollar Tree. So I need to milk it while I still can. My kids are still really into pretend play. These are Terra animals, but a bunch of different companies make like small miniature animals. So you can pack this. I don't have to bring this whole tub, but I'll just bring a few of them. And then we have a little like fold up barn that you can like put together, and anyway, it's like 3D, and yeah, it just packs up really small. And then we also have this thing which turns, it's like a bag, so they can carry, you can put this in your big luggage, and they can carry all of their animals inside of it to keep it contained while you're at like the hotel or wherever you are, so that you have kind of like a bucket for your animals or for your whatever toys you're bringing. And it opens up into a flat like play mat for the kids, so it's like part of like a farm or like a park. And so these are also really nice to have for when you're traveling, if you're going somewhere where you're going to be in the hotel room a lot, because for example, like one of my kids naps and the other one doesn't, and so we might all be confined to the hotel room for a little bit, and it gives one of the kids something to do. So we actually have a bin in our house where we pack like all of our travel stuff, and they're only allowed to bring these things out when we're traveling. So it's like special because if they had them throughout the year, they probably wouldn't enjoy them as much. I would say the one toy that counts as a travel toy, but they still play with it just normally, is Polly Pockets. Just because, I mean, they love Polly Pocket. They never get bored of them, and we have like way too many sets. So that's like our only travel toy that counts as a normal toy and travel. But everything else, we hide it away, so it's super special when it comes out again.
And we do have a totally different style of packing between the two of us. We took one trip together, and she's ready to pack up her whole house in a suitcase, and I am just good to go with the flow. If they want to pack something, they can. If they don't, they don't have to. We'll figure it out. The nice thing about all these things that you mentioned and all the toys that the kids can bring is making sure that they actually bring a backpack where they can put their own stuff in their backpack. That way they have like a special little luggage of fun things that they could actually play with and entertain themselves and play together. So to make packing easier, we always have digital lists of different destinations we've had. We also have like generic ones where we just write warm weather or cold weather, and then we have a list for how long we go. So for example, if our last one is maybe a 10-day cold weather, I have what we packed so I can change it according to if we stay longer or shorter. That really helps when it comes to packing for a trip. You're not using the brain power to rethink that list, and it's always there available for you, and it saves you so much time.
I actually think that's a really great idea because we like to travel a lot, and I have to like rewrite my list every single time. I've tried doing it like on my phone, and I just don't like it. I prefer to just have like a paper copy. In general, I like paper, and that way if I like need help packing, I could like rip off a piece and be like, babe, you're in charge of this half and I'm in charge of this half. But I really like the idea of being able to print it out, even if it's digital, because you can like reuse it and you don't have to rethink about it every single time, but you can still cross it off as you go or divide it up however you want to do that.
And mine is digital, but it does have the option to do a checklist. So of course I do that because I love checklists, and I actually am able to check it off on my phone. And make sure you split your list with what you need to pack in terms of like group it. Like clothes should be grouped so that when everybody gathers up their clothes, it's all in one area, and then next section maybe like shoes or accessories, and then toiletries in one area. Group them so you're not running all around the house trying to grab different things.
I also like to have a morning of checklist, and what I actually do is like on my bathroom mirror in the morning, I'll put like toothbrushes and toothpaste, like the stuff that I'm using, I'll put it right there just so I don't forget it. Or like on my bedside, I'll put a little post-it on the table that says like charger, phone, and just so you don't like forget those easy to miss things in the morning.
Yes, and we have that at the bottom of our list. It just says morning of, but usually all our toiletries and stuff, everything is already packed away because we have ones just for traveling. But the only thing the morning of is like make sure I grab my wallet, credit card, and cell phone. Otherwise, like we don't have a lot morning of, unless it might be like a sound machine for a baby, which they need it through the night. Which leads me to, if your kids are old enough, make sure you ask them to help you. So the way we approach it with our 5, 8, and 10-year-old is I will pull up the list and I'll say, okay, bring me 3 pairs of long pants, or I'll specify if they're leggings or jeans, and then I just go through the list. Everybody brings it to me, I approve it, and it goes into our luggages. That way I'm not, packing for all of us, and it really takes off a lot of the stress and the running around and just feeling like you're doing it all.
Something that has really helped to make packing easier for me is we use packing cubes. So basically they're just little compartments you can put into your luggage to separate things. And so it keeps like my kids' clothes separated, so you don't have to look through the pile to find your own clothes. It keeps them all together. And if you're staying in a hotel room where you're using drawers, you can just dump out the whole cube into the drawer, and you don't have to like, again, take things out of the luggage to separate things. And I also like them because you can sort of like shove more into them. This is like not the minimalist approach that she uses, but you can like bring so many more things because it like compresses your clothes and stuff. And then you can have an extra one for like your dirty clothes. You can also just use like a plastic bag, but it just looks prettier to have all your little compartments uniform.
How do you fold your clothes on trips?
So I used to try like the rolling technique because supposedly that helps you to like fit more, but it was just too kind of disorganized for me. But using the packing cubes, I don't need to roll to maximize my space. I can just like fold them like I normally would, and again like transfer them to a drawer or whatever, and that way if I come home and any clothes are still clean, I can literally just pick them up and put them right into the drawers.
So I do this for folding regularly. I like them facing up, so everything is like this, facing up. So even on trip, when you said, oh, do you live out of a suitcase? I'm like, yeah, it's just like living out of a drawer where they're all facing up anyway in the luggage. So I just pull it out and nothing is stacked. Back when I was a teen, if I were to pack, I would just stack them. So it was like shirts were stacked like this. So of course you dig to the bottom, it'd be a mess. So living out of a suitcase is not really that different for me. It's as if I'm living out of a dresser. So we want to hone in on a few extra tips just for traveling by car.
My greatest tip would be to bring a potty in the car. This actually worked out really well for us during COVID because when we took a road trip to Philadelphia, we couldn't stop anywhere to go potty because like nowhere was open. And so my husband and I actually also used the kids' little toddler potty, and then we put, actually I got this tip from her, we put like a diaper inside to like catch the pee, because then you could just roll it up and throw it in a bag. It makes it a lot easier to clean up. You don't have to like clean out the inside of the bowl. And we just brought a ton of like plastic bags, and then you keep switching them out.
Yeah,
And
line it with a plastic bag, put a diaper inside so the pee's not going anywhere.
Splatter.
Yes, and you just literally take the bag, fold it, throw it out, you are good. It works with pee or poop, and the smell is not even in the car anymore. It is seriously amazing. This is not really related to traveling, but it comes in handy when you're like at the park and your kid's like, I really gotta go, it's an emergency. And you're like, are you serious? Can't you wait till we get home? And they're like, no, I can't. And you're like, potty in the car. It's always in our stow and go. It's like a storage underneath, so it doesn't even get in our way. It's amazing.
We keep ours in our car full time too.
So when it comes to traveling by car or very, very long flights, your best friend will probably be screen time, some device. I think it just gets really hard to sit for so long. I get super antsy. Everything starts to like ache, so I don't blame them when they start asking an hour into the trip, are we there yet? I can't help but laugh, but I really think it helps to get your mind off of it by watching something. I like to watch stuff, and they totally can watch things. The only rule we have when we're traveling with car is they do have to wait till the halfway mark. Like, I just don't want them to, take an 8-hour trip and watch stuff for 8 hours. So I do make them wait till the halfway mark.
So we are really lucky that we now have a whole like DVD system in our car, but before we didn't. And so what we would do is we would preload shows onto the iPad, and then we had like an iPad mount thing that would go on the back of our seats, and it sort of extends so that's in the middle of all of the kids. And then we would buy an earphone splitter, and so each of the kids had their own headphones. It just made it easy because they still were like entertained in the car, and they didn't fight over, oh, I can't hear it, and we didn't have to listen to the show the whole time. So that was really handy for us.
Now that is neat because we listen to the whole movie the whole time they're listening. And I just get a glimpse of what's going on, and I'm not really watching it, so it's not as exciting for us adults. So I love the idea of getting a splitter. I gotta look into that. I do wonder if it comes into like a splitter into 3 or even 4 as my baby gets older. That's legit.
Yeah, and that way we can also like listen to our own things. So we usually will listen to like an audiobook together in the car, or we'll listen to like a podcast or a comedy show. And so it's nice because we don't have to like try to separate like the noises of the background in the car. We just like have our own thing going on.
Yes.
Speaking of that, this actually works for the car or the plane. You can also bring an audiobook for your kids if you don't want them to be like on the screen the whole time. Our library actually has these little devices called playaways, and so you don't have to have it like downloaded to your phone or anything. It's its own device, and so each of the kids can have their own devices. You just have to have your own earphones, you plug them in, and it's really nice because they could each be listening to their own books.
For us, the biggest difference between traveling car versus plane is just the issues that our kids have with ears when we're going on a plane. So I feel like the biggest change is just making sure that we are prepared for the pain that comes with ears. So what we do is we end up bringing gummies or something they can actually chew on. Usually gummies are what helps because obviously then they're chewing on it for a while, sucking on it, and it helps their ears to not feel that like pressure.
It also helps if they're just drinking like water from a water bottle. As long as they're like gulping and swallowing, it'll help with their ears.
Then you have the issue if they drink too much, then you gotta have 10 potty breaks in that little tiny airplane.
Actually, that reminds me, sometimes as an adult, when there's like a super long line on the plane, it's hard to like wait. My son has a habit of like not telling us he has to go until right before he has an accident. We actually put them in pull-ups before we get on the plane, even though they're fully potty trained. So this is more of like a luxury, but we like to bring an inflatable pillow for the airplane so that our kids can sleep. This works better if your kids are younger because they have more like space to lay down. If they're older, it probably doesn't offer much more space. But it deflates, so it's like really tiny, easy to bring along, and even for an adult, it just gives you like an extra footrest. And I bring anything possible to make sure the kids stay in a good mood the whole time so that I don't have to deal with cranky kids on vacation.
I really, really try, because I work on this for myself a lot, to try to remember to like be positive through it. So even when the kids start to complain, I'm like, guys, remember, like, this is a blessing to be able to go on this trip. So I really try to work hard, and that's because as a kid I was super crabby, and so I think as I got into my teen years, I was like, I can't be an adult like this and be like not functioning when things don't go well. So I really, really work on it with them too, like sucking it up, get it together, we could do this, it's okay that we're all tired.
See, this is where it like comes in that she's low maintenance and I'm high maintenance because I also get cranky and I bring stuff to make sure I also do not get cranky along with the kids. So that's where I am like an overpacker and she's like go with the flow because I'm not. I'm a
That's
diva.
funny. We should travel together. I will totally get you in the mindset. Girl, suck it up. You got this. So we know boosters take up a lot of space if you're traveling with younger ones. And so here are two amazing boosters that are more compact and so much easier to travel with than the big bulky ones.
So I like to pack a booster because otherwise you're paying like $11 a day for a car seat to rent one, and we have 2 kids, so that's $22 a day, so that can get expensive. So we actually have something called a bubblegum booster, and it actually fits into this little sleeve, this little bag, and so it's inflatable, and so it actually has a nozzle right here, and it's super comfy for the kids.
Oh, this way.
Yeah, so this is where they sit.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
And what I like about this is you can also use it as a high chair or a booster seat at the table. So if your kids are still tiny and they still need one, you don't have to pack an extra one because you have it.
That's
I know
awesome.
sometimes I try to make do with that one because I don't want to like pack all these extra. Well, I pack a lot, but I don't want to pack like an extra high chair on the trip. But this like is multi-purpose, so it's awesome.
I do love things that are multi-purpose. The one that we have is super small and it opens up and it works as a car seat, but that's it. All it is a tiny booster seat.
And this is what it looks like when it's all tucked away into the bag. So all in all, we hope this video helped you discover some good tricks to help you travel with your kids and make it a pleasant experience. My tip is always to just pack everything you possibly can to make sure it goes smoothly.
And I always think pack as little as possible, go with the flow, and it'll all work out in the end.
Mamas, we'd like to know what's your #1 tip for traveling with kids.
Your best tip. Let's hear it.
Drop it down in the comment section below, and don't forget to give us a like if you found anything in this video helpful.
And if you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can get alerts for our weekly videos. See you guys next time.
Okay, 'cause you're not
Minimalist
recording.
approach versus not minimalist. I gotta borrow that. I gotta borrow that for 1 second. So my husband finds this, and Alana's like, "Wow, that's really cool. I need one of those." Wait, what do you use it for? Minimalist, you first need to know what you use it for before you say you need it. Non-minimalist approach, I need it, but what is it for?
It looks cool.